Today I'm going to talk about the 3 P's of every task, which are plan, perform, and put away. And the reason these are important is because we're a custom cabinet shop. So there's no task that we do that you're going to be doing the same thing over and over all day, day in, day out. The kind of work we do, it consists of hundreds of different tasks and they're constantly changing. So on any given day, you might be unloading the truck in the morning, doing cleanup of the truck. Then you might have to sand a bunch of doors and spray them. Then you might have to assemble some cabinets, then maybe sharpen some tools. Then there might be some samples to make for a cabinet. You might be doing 5, 10, even 15 different things in a day. And each of these things that you might do, it might have 5 or 10 steps, and it might involve 5 or 10 different tools. So there are literally hundreds of different tasks we have to do, and there are thousands of tools. So one of the most crucial things is keeping these things organized, and one of the most important parts of keeping them organized is doing what I call the 3 P's of every task, which are plan, perform, and put away. So every time you do something, first of all, you plan it out. The first thing you need to do is figure out exactly what needs to be done. Never just start doing something without thinking about what you're going to do. If I say sand and spray a bunch of doors, the first thing you've got to do is figure out exactly what needs to be done. Do they need to be sanded on the back? Do they need to be sanded on the front? Is this the first sand, which you might use, say, a 180, a rough sandpaper? Is it the second coat where you might use a 220? Is it a final coat where you want to use 320? Do you need to round the edges first? Do you need to go over these with a router? There's a whole bunch of things that need to be established. You need to know exactly what needs to be done. If you don't understand exactly what needs to be done, start to finish, ask. For example, sometimes I will tell someone to put the hardware on the cabinet door. And I go through this with clients. I hold the knob up. I say, do you want the knob here? Do you want it here, here? You have to find out exactly where it's supposed to go before you start. If you're trying to finish a kitchen and you start drilling hardware holes without knowing exactly where they have to go, and the client comes and doesn't like it, you could destroy all the doors in the kitchen. That could be a $5,000 mistake just by drilling a whole bunch of holes in the wrong spot. So you have to find out exactly what needs to be done. That's the first step of planning. The second step of planning is before you start sanding or shooting nails, plan out exactly how you're going to do it. And a lot of guys don't do this. They just, they love to just get out the nail gun and start going bang, 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 bang. Because it's easier, it's intellectually lazy. So before you start, set up your tools. Now, if I'm going to sand these doors, I want to set things up. So maybe I've got one rack here. I'm going to grab the door, sand it, vacuum it, and put it on the next rack. And I'm going to grab this one, sand it, vacuum it, put it on the next rack. Set up the task so that it's easy, so that everything you need to do the job is right there. So once you start, you're not wasting any time. And this goes on the job site. If that means taking the big rack, rolling it closer to where you're working. If you're assembling cabinets, set up your assembly tools so they're all ready to go, so everything's organized. Set it up so you can do the whole task with limited movement and with no sort of awkward movements and no difficulty. So plan out how you're going to do the task. So the second P is perform. Don't start something and then put it down and start something else. If I were going to sand these doors, once you start, keep going. Put on your headphones and just sand them all and get them all done, okay? Don't stop until you've got it done. Don't start one thing, get it half done, and go on to another thing. If you're at the end of the day, for example, and you're going to start it first thing in the morning, maybe you can leave it out and start up again where you left off. But don't start a new task until you finish the first one. Because if you do, it'll slow you down, you lose focus, you start making mistakes, you're not concentrating on what you're doing. So start a task, Do it start to finish. Plan your lunch break. What I tell people is do something in the morning, like if you're cleaning out the truck, get it cleaned out, and then take a break. Go to the bathroom, call your friends on your cell phone, plan your party for the evening or whatever, talk to your girlfriend or whatever you got to do, get it over with, and then go on and start a new task. But when you're doing something, just finish it, okay? Start to finish. And don't stop to explain things to other people. If someone asks a question, tell them, just hang on a second, I'll come back in a minute. Occasionally we have to unload a big truck and you have to help or something like that. If you have to put things down for a minute to help someone else, put it down but go right back to it. The final thing is put away. Never jump to the next task. Put everything back, take all the tools, put them back in their proper place, tidy up the workspace. Make sure the workspace is 100% finished and put away so everything's ready to start the next task. It's like you want this to be in perfect condition so it's ready to start for the next person. This is really useful because it keeps the job site organized, it keeps us from losing tools. And the other thing about putting things away is psychologically, it helps you sort of finish the task. You're clearing your head of one task and you're getting ready for the next one. When you start the next task, you're 100% focused on the next thing you have to do and you don't have stuff lying around from the last thing you did. So plan, perform, and put away. And everything you do, you should be doing those three components of the task.